Hello, guys, and welcome to another webinar with incredible change makers and lifestyle designers. First of all, we fucked up. I'm sorry, I fucked up. Somehow the link didn't work. We couldn't log in. But the important thing is now we're here, and I hope most of the people that made it to the first webinar room are also here. I'm extremely excited. Just real quickly, my name is Kai Chris, and I'm the founder of the Lifestyle Design Convention. I'm mentioning this also because our guest today is going to be a speaker in January in Zurich at the Lifestyle Design Convention, and I'm double excited because of that to have him on. His name is Mark Manson. You maybe know him if you joined this webinar. He's an incredible blogger. What I love about his blog posts, it's not that kind of guru feeling that you get a lot when you read self-development blog posts. So it's not like you have to do this and this is the only way, but it's rather like suggestions. It's knowledge that he got from so many sources, and I really love that. And he makes fun about himself, which is an amazing thing. We just talked about it before, the whole topic of vulnerability, which is very dear to me. He is really certainly a guy who embraces that. Yeah, man, welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. On the other line is Daniel Yordi. He's going to be also asking the questions. I'm, again, going to do a little bit more of the moderator role. And yeah, let's get right into it. Daniel, you maybe want to start with the questions, and then I'm in the background going to sneakily really fast do everything technical, okay?
Yeah, totally. So, Mark, once again, thanks for being here. It's an honor to have you here on board with us today. So, you know, one of my first questions is kind of like the opening theme of today, I guess. What's your biggest fuck up in life?
Oh, God. I have to pick just one. Oh, man. You know, that's such a funny question because, you know, there's so many ways to look at. First of all, I mean, in terms of just asking, like, what are some of the biggest mistakes that I've made? I mean, I have a whole laundry list of them. You know, I've screwed up with relationships, staying in relationships too long, maybe leaving too soon, not dating the right people. I've screwed up in my professional life. I've tried to start businesses that failed catastrophically. I've wasted tons of time on stuff that didn't work. You know, the list goes on and on. But when you talk about, you know, fuck up, you know, it's a cliche, but I always have to add that caveat of like, yeah, I've made all these mistakes, but I'm a better person for them because, you know, ultimately I learned from all of them, and I'm a better person now for them. So yeah, I fucked up, but you know, I guess there's nothing terribly wrong about fuck ups.
Just a quick thing. Somebody mentioned that the volume is a bit low on your end, Mark. I don't know if you can turn up the volume, or I don't know
Let me
if
see.
that's an option you have on your side.
Let me do this. I could just scream at everybody.
I think that's cool.
it's already slightly better while you say that, so that's fine.
I can just try to talk louder. Is that better?
Yeah, it's perfect, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. See, that's my biggest fuck up right there. I wasn't talking loud enough.
Good. You know, another question that I have, you know, Kai just made the introduction into that, and I read a couple of your blog posts as well, and I had that similar feeling like, you know, what you would talk about comes from a little bit of a different perspective than what most people talk about. But I just want to hear it from your own words, like, you know, why is, and I'm going to be a bit, you know, provocative here, why is what you preach different from other personal development gurus?
Well, I liked what Kai said about kind of like the unguru guru thing, because I think he summed it up pretty well. Is that, you know, most personal development is written or given from a I know what's right or I know what's better, and this is what you should do. And I basically come from the opposite point of view of um, none of us know what the hell we're doing, and that it's actually through accepting and becoming comfortable with the fact that we have absolutely no clue what we're doing, um, that things get better for us. And I just try to share a little bit of how I don't know what the hell I'm doing and how I screw up. Um, and so, yeah, it's most people, most of the industry is based very much on like trying to prescribe what is right. And I'm mostly like, you know what, I think everything's kind of wrong, and let's laugh about it.
Dude,
I love
what's
that.
your motivation behind that? I mean, like I can imagine that it takes maybe not, but for me, it would take a lot of energy to write all those blog posts. It takes a lot of dedication, certainly, and a lot of focus. Like, where did you get the motivation to do that?
Honestly, it it comes somewhat natural. I mean, first of all, I love writing, period, and I've always loved to write.
Hmm.
Um, and then second of all, I mean, my blog posts, they're kind of like therapy for myself. Like, I usually write about stuff because it's stuff that I'm dealing with myself, and so I kind of like get a handle on my own issues by talking about it. And sometimes I get emails from people. They're like, "Oh, you talk about all this stuff. Does this mean that you like, you embody all this stuff perfectly? You're always vulnerable and honest, and you're confident in your failures and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "No, it's actually the opposite. Like I'm constantly screwing up, and so I write blog posts about it to make myself feel better."
I love that. Like, what when I was talking about motivation, I was also wondering about your why. Like,
Yeah.
not only that, maybe you like writing, that might be a why, but like, what is the deeper purpose that you have behind it?
Well, I obviously I do have somewhat of a philosophy and a worldview, and I do feel very strongly about it. I feel like a lot of culture today, due to a lot of the technology and consumerism and things like that, I feel very strongly that there needs to be a little bit more humility and uncertainty in the world. And I guess I kind of see it as my personal mission to show people that those are not bad things. Much like we were talking before the call, Kai, about vulnerability. Very much similar to showing that like vulnerability is not a form of weakness. Actually, it can be a form of strength. I believe the same thing about uncertainty. I believe the same thing um, about responsibility and a lot of these other concepts. So that I feel very strongly about that. I care about that, and I think I'm making the world a better place. So that helps with the motivation as well.
Do you think of the people when you write the blog posts?
Um, Sometimes. I mean, sometimes I kind of have a person in mind, like in my own life that kind of, and it's not that I'm like writing it for them, but it's like, so for instance, if I'm gonna write a post, say about like finding your life purpose or whatever, um, I'll kind of have somebody in mind that I know in my life that struggles with that problem, and I kind of think about like, what would I say to like if I could sit down and say anything I wanted to this person, what would I say? Um,
Hmm.
I think about that a lot too. I get lots of emails, like tons and tons and tons of emails, and um, every once in a while, one will kind of trigger me of like, okay, I need to like shake this person and yell at them, and that will often kind of like snowball into a blog post.
All right, cool,
I got a
great.
question about today's topic, actually. Stop trying to be happy. What's up with that?
So I wrote a post, I think last year. I don't even remember when I wrote it. But basically, the idea is that so if you think of, you know, if you're if you're a rich person, you don't need to go tell people that you're rich, and if you're confident, you don't need, like, a confident person doesn't need to tell people they're confident, because if they needed to tell people, then they wouldn't be confident. You know, if that makes sense? It's the same thing for happiness. Like, if you need to walk around constantly, like, thinking, like, I need to be more happy, I need to be more happy, I need to be more happy, then you're not happy. Like, it's the thing that is causing unhappiness is the desire for more happiness. It's this constant, like, seeking of more, more, more. And so I kind of take the opposite approach, which is very common in a lot of kind of like Eastern traditions, which is like that of just letting go, like just give up the whole idea of more, 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 and you know what you're left with. I mean, if you think about it, the experience of happiness itself is essentially like wanting nothing to change. And it's pretty easy to decide that you don't want anything to change. You just decide that you don't need things to change. And so I think a lot of this constant quest for happiness and this pursuit of happiness is it's very self-defeating in many ways. People get very caught up in chasing all sorts of goals and dreams and money and, you know, love and whatever. And I think it's much more effective and perhaps beneficial, socially beneficial, to focus more on just kind of like deciding what to let go of, simplifying, essentially.
Cool, dude. That the next question goes a little bit into a different direction, but we touched it slightly about motivation, because I know that feeling very well with my projects. There, for example, with the Lifestyle Design Convention, I have days. Well, lately I had weeks and even months where it's like, oh, I don't feel like doing it, you know, like even though it's something that touches my heart, I kind of lost sight of it, you know. I'm sure like everybody who is doing something more or less on their own, let's say, they can share that kind of feeling. It's like, how do you tackle that?
Well, I came to accept. I was kind of forced. I've been blogging and running my own internet business since 2007, and so it's been almost 8 years. And one thing I just eventually figured out is it doesn't matter how much you love something. It doesn't matter how much you care about something. It doesn't matter how important you think something is. If you do it long enough, there will come a time where you get sick of it. And that's just life. Like, that's just how life works. And again, this is kind of an example of how people are always kind of like, well, I want to be like motivated and ready to go like 24/7 no matter what. And I eventually just kind of had to accept that, you know what, like some weeks I'm just not going to feel it. Like, or even like I'll have a span of a month or two where I'm just kind of like, I'm not, it feels repetitive, it feels a little bit dull. And that's just, in my mind, that's just, life is always a grind at some point. But I do think that those times when things kind of bottom out and you get a little bit burnt out or a little bit sick of what you're doing, those are usually like the best times to kind of step back and do like an audit of, you know, take a look, like examine everything in your business or in your project or whatever it is you're doing, and start asking yourself questions about it. Start questioning some of the assumptions that you never questioned before, and just try to come up with some new ideas, like some new approaches to things. Generally, like a lot of the biggest wins in my business and also in my writing have come in times where like I got kind of burnt out and I took a week off and sat down somewhere and was just like, all right, like what's something really crazy I could do to make this interesting? And you know, a lot of those ideas are terrible, but every once in a while you get a really good one. So
cool, man. So Daniel, you want to take the next one?
I got another one. You know, there's you know, you've built a pretty significant business up until that point. So, you know, if you had 1 minute with somebody, and you would have to explain to them essentially what they could do to get to 2 million views a month.
Oh God.
What would you say to them? I can already see you love these kinds of questions.
Oh Jesus, 1 minute. Daniel, I don't think I can say anything in 1 minute. I'm so long-winded.
Okay, I give you two.
2 million views a month. Um, yeah, I see. This is the problem. Is when anything I say here, it's gonna sound really bland and like you've heard it a million times. So obviously, tests. Um, I guess what I would say is like test ideas and test approaches and test content, not just for your readers, but also for yourself. One thing I discovered um, after a couple years of blogging and writing was that there were certain types of content that would maybe get a lot more attention in the short term, but that I just didn't enjoy writing. I didn't care about it. It wasn't interesting to me. And so I kind of recognize that in myself of like, well, if I'm already sick of writing about this after one post, then this is a really bad long-term strategy. Like even if this might get me a lot of traffic very quickly, it's a bad long-term strategy. Like I find something that I care very deeply about and I can write about for years and years and years. And I think particularly with like artistic stuff, so writing, creating videos, public speaking, like that passion comes through. Like people can kind of sniff out, everybody likes good information, but people can sniff out if you give a shit or not. And if you don't give a shit, then as soon as they're done with the information, they're gonna leave. What keeps them coming back over and over again is that understanding that like what you're saying matters, and that the next thing that matters to you, you're just going to give it to them straight. And so yeah, I guess it pains me to stop there, but I think that's 2 minutes.
So, I mean, I love that. I mean, let's just try to recap it. So, try to summarize that in my words to understand it a little bit better. So, essentially, is it like what you're saying is instead of obsessing only about what the audience wants to hear, obsess more about what you actually want to talk about?
Do both.
Exactly.
They both matter. So, and what you'll notice is that there's a lot of people out there who get stuck, and they get stuck because they're focusing on one and not both. So there are people out there who are just constantly concerned about, what they think is artistic and beautiful and all this stuff. And then there's some people that just want clicks, no matter what. And both of those approaches really have limited ceilings.
If you would have to prioritize one over the other, which would that be?
I think it really depends. I mean, I don't think, I guess in the long term, in the really, really long term, I think what matters to you matters more. Just because it's like if you sacrifice what matters to you, then you haven't built a business. You're just cashing in, basically. Yep. You're cashing in for 3 years, 5 years, whatever, and then when you're 40 or 50, you're gonna be back at square one. So in the long run, I think that matters more. But like the whole this kind of gets into a more philosophical question of like, if you're a creator, like, yeah, you need to be true to yourself and what you feel, but at the same time, like the whole point of creating writing or art or content or whatever is for it to be viewed. And so there has to be some sort of consideration or priority given to the people who are consuming your work.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, especially with the whole balance, because that's what I've seen. And I've been blogging now, not as long as you are, definitely, but I've been blogging for 3 years now, and I've seen, exactly that. And every single time I talk from my heart, and I guess, you would agree on that. Like, I sort of know, and you probably also know really well, what the people are looking for, their challenges and everything. You have a general sense anyway, right? So whenever you talk about something, it's going to be not completely off anyway. So,
Yeah.
but then when it really comes from, from a place of this is really what matters most to me, then it's more fun, but also it's more, people tend to be more engaging.
Yeah.
And I have a follow-up question to that.
Sure.
Because of that, like, especially recently, I started to um, write more about, less about how-to posts and more about this is my view of the world. This is my lens. This
Yeah.
is the way I see this topic, and I think this is stupid, and I think this is stupid, and I think this is good, and this is good. And I get a lot of criticism. I get a lot of really good, and I love that. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love the criticism because I feel like that's when I'm doing something right. But sometimes it's really difficult to deal with the whole, negative criticism, like, for an author, the one-star reviews on Amazon and things like that.
Yeah.
And I imagine with 2 million views a month, you must get one or two critic comments once in a while per year, I guess. So,
Yeah.
how do you deal with negative criticism? That's essentially my question.
Um, well, the first and biggest part of it is you just get used to it. It gets easier as time goes on. Like I remember years and years ago, like one negative comment on a blog post, like it would ruin my afternoon. I'd be like, what? Like, how does he think this way? This isn't right, Um, these days, yeah, I mean, stuff comes in all the time, and I have an assistant who like screens my email, and basically, I mean, he screens out like the spam and the gibberish, people saying like stuff that doesn't make sense. And I've also told him this basically anything that's just like flaming. It's just like you're an idiot, fuck you, stop writing. Like just delete that. My policy is basically like if the person on the other end, like if the person who's criticizing me, if it's clear that they've put like some thought into it, like it's not just like this emotional outburst. If
Yeah.
there's some thought in it, then I kind of like I force myself to read it and respond to it. Sometimes that's hard, and sometimes like even though they put thought into it, I think that they're completely wrong. But I think that that's good. Like it's a good habit to get into, because as unpleasant as it can be sometimes, it actually like I find it motivating sometimes. So like if I get say I get some emails criticizing me and I really don't agree with them, like I think they come from a place that is it comes from like a wrong belief or a wrong assumption or something like that. And I start getting really pissed off about that. Like that can be a great blog post. Like you could take that like anger, and really write something cool about it, and just make that another observation. So yeah, it's useful. And then yeah, sometimes you just get like really really pissed off, and I don't know. I just go outside and walk around for a while, and I don't know, play a video game or something, and within an hour, it's like everything's fine again.
I have a question related to that maybe, and that's like, how do you feel about the other way around? How do you feel about hurting people's feelings and being raw and unfiltered in the stuff that you do?
Um, so again, I think this is another area where I am kind of different than most personal development. I really have no problem hurting people's feelings. And I don't think other people should have a problem with having their feelings hurt. Um, I see emotions as feedback, and and yeah, it sucks, but like it's the same thing as like stubbing your toe on a piece of furniture. Like it sucks, but it really hurts because your body's trying to teach you to like not walk in the furniture. So like I see the same thing with negative emotions. It's like, yeah, this email really pisses me off, but like the fact that I'm so pissed off, that tells me something. That tells me something about my beliefs, what I'm saying, perhaps the way I'm saying it. Maybe I'm being insensitive to certain people and not realizing it. Maybe I'm wrong about something and I don't realize it. So it makes me question myself. And so I feel very much the same in my own work. I get complaints literally every day about my language. Like people are like, oh, your articles are so smart and interesting, but can you not use the F word so much? And like to me, that's like it kind of like defeats the whole point of my blog. Like the whole point of my blog is kind of to make you uncomfortable. And part of making you uncomfortable is like saying fuck a lot and making really inappropriate jokes and like poking fun at like really sensitive demographics. And I think most people understand that like I do it with good intentions and a good heart, but like I think that's an important part of like growing yourself is like being able to hear stuff like that and learning how to accept it.
You have another one, Daniel?
I think we
Should
should.
we?
I have about 10,000, but
Good, very good.
I think we
Let's
should go
start
into
with,
the questions of the audience.
yeah,
There's quite a
absolutely.
few questions actually. It's very interactive.
Yeah, I love that. So let's go into one of them, a classic that I hear a lot, a lot, a lot. And that's from Anna. It's like, when and how did you realize your life's purpose? Or did you? That would be
Um,
another one.
I personally believe that life purpose, it's kind of a work in progress. It's always a
Hmm.
work in progress. So
Yeah.
it's something that you get closer to, but you never figure out, and you never completely figure it out because you're always changing. And so what you want and what makes you feel important is always changing. I feel very, very, very good and very strongly about ending up as a writer. Like that was something that I consciously decided and felt extremely strong about 5 years ago. Um, but yeah, the way I came to that is a lot of trial and error. Like at first I thought I wanted to, have like an online e-commerce business, and then that sucked. And so then I started like a website selling dating advice, and that kind of worked a little bit, but then it got kind of creepy and weird. And then after a couple of years, I was like, well, maybe I'll like write a blog, like focus on blogging and books. And then that went really well. And then I was like, wait, I don't want to be giving dating advice all the time. And so then I changed the site. And at that point, I was like 6 years into it. And I'm sure in like another 2 or 3 years, I'm gonna like wake up one day and be like, you know what, like I need to change something. And I think that's part of life. And I think people frame this question incorrectly with the idea that there's like some ultimate purpose that you arrive at and then like you're done. It's like, okay, figure that out, like check that off the list.
Mhm.
Um, I think the point is to just simply always have something in front of you that you're working towards.
Yeah.
And whether that is your ultimate life purpose or what people are going to remember you by or what you're going to look back on your deathbed, like it doesn't matter. Like
It
just
it
work
also
towards something.
takes a lot of pressure away, doesn't it? If there is not this ultimate life purpose, you can just at least also just try, Like, just
Yeah,
just try out stuff.
absolutely. And it's like what I was saying earlier about like anything you do for long enough, you're gonna hate doing it at some point. Like there are days I wake up and I'm like, God, I really don't want to write. And but like I love writing. It's like it's my career. It's my favorite thing. And if I, had this assumption that like it had to be my passion and purpose all the time, then I wouldn't allow myself to just not like it sometimes, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I would just want to add my 2 cents quickly here, because one of the things I noticed in our discussion, Mark, is that one of the things you said about your blogging is that you said you kind of you make people feel uncomfortable, and that's kind of a way for you to develop people, or not to develop, but to help people grow. Do you feel that's been part of most or a lot of the work that you've done, not just what you do now, but also in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to consistently make ourselves a little bit uncomfortable. Um, I think our minds, like and our emotions, psychologically, they're like a muscle. If you don't work them out, then they're just gonna get soft and weak. And again, kind of coming back to like some of the stuff I feel strongly about, like today's culture, I think today's culture, it makes it way too easy for people to feel good all the time. And so, and when you just feel good all the time and you ignore like the reality happening around you, um, you get emotionally and psychologically weak, and you're not able to really kind of control your life and do something really great with it. And
But don't you think that in general today, like people are extremely unhappy? Like I feel we're in a culture where, like, if I look into people's eyes at the morning in the train station, if I look at people going to work, if I look at people like even at the party, like people are not really, really happy. So I think there is, yes, you can make yourself superficially happy, you can get wasted, you can go watch a movie, you can do all that stuff. But in today's culture, I don't see. I cannot compare because I wasn't
yeah,
there, but like I don't feel that like I walk around and see all those enlightened people, like the people that have like really bright eyes and they're like you can see they're present. So I wouldn't necessarily agree with that.
well, I would differentiate here between pleasure and happiness.
All right,
So,
yeah.
and there's a difference between feeling good and being happy. I mean, you can feel horrible and be really like, if you think about like a bodybuilder, Arnold Schwarzenegger used to compare like working out to like orgasming, and like there's nothing that feels good about working out to that extent, but like it made him happy. And I think actually what you brought up there is a really important thing that most people don't differentiate. Like they assume that happiness is feeling good, um, and they're actually two completely different things.
Cool.
Yeah,
Daniel,
I
can you take it over?
yeah, I totally agree. And just quickly, I mean, the reason I asked this question is because I feel like so often people confuse the whole thing of purpose and things like that with something to do. Like, they think purpose is a career. They think purpose is a business idea. They think purpose is something to do. But the reason I asked the question is because probably, throughout your entire career and businesses that you built, there's something that has been showing up over and over and over and over again. That's why I was picking on this thing of making
Yeah,
people like helping people grow by making them feel uncomfortable, by challenging them. And that's
yeah,
probably a big part of why you do what you do, of something that you deeply believe is the right thing to do, and it probably has to do a lot with purpose. But you can probably do that as a waiter at a restaurant, as well as as by what you're doing right now. So it
yeah,
doesn't have to do so much with the thing you're doing, and more like like from the place you're coming from, like the belief system you're coming from,
yeah,
the idea of the ideal world that you have. So that's why I brought it up.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't have to be a job. It can be
Exactly.
anything. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
there's a lot of questions coming in. Let me ask another one. Um, Andrew asked, Mark, how do you deal with the feeling of impermanence, both emotionally and physically, in your current lifestyle? Are you close to wanting to settle down and building a permanent home somewhere?
I am actually. That's one thing that's really changed in my life the last year or two. Um, I don't know how much of that is just like biological, because I am getting older, but like, uh, I mean, I spent most of my 20s bouncing around cities, bouncing around friends' couches, bouncing from one girlfriend to the next, learning this language, living on this beach, blah blah blah. And um, I really hit a point in the last couple of years where it's like, all right, like I kind of would like to have a home. I'm starting to think about like family, marriage, um, and these are things that my 5, 10 years ago I didn't have a care in the world. And I guess, kind of the conscious explanation for this is that when you kind of accumulate like a quantity of experiences, so I feel like there's a lot of value put these days on getting like a very wide range of experience, which I think is great. People talking about traveling a lot, people talk about um, starting multiple businesses or, working with multiple projects. You even hear about like polyamory and having multiple relationships these days. I think, you know, there's obviously there's something great about that. But what I noticed in my own life is that you hit this point of like diminishing returns. So, for example, like if I had never been to a foreign country in my life, then going to Switzerland would be like huge, mind-blowing, you know, probably the highlight of my year. Um, if I've been to 50 other countries, then going to Switzerland is just like, oh, I guess it's time to go to Switzerland now. So you start to like get this diminishing return with kind of these
Yeah.
like these new experiences, and so yeah, I kind of hit a point. And the thing is when you're trying to accumulate all these experiences, the thing that you give up is commitment. You give up um, commitment and sacrifice, you know, and you give up this like depth of experience. That you give up the experience of living in the same place for 10 years and knowing all of your neighbors and knowing people at your favorite restaurant. You give up this experience of being intimate with the same person for 10 years. You give up this experience of, you know, understanding your habits on a really like minute detail. So yeah, I feel myself drifting towards that and like wanting that right now. Yeah.
Cool, dude. Thanks. There's another question that I would like partly address as well myself. Joe asked, I'm ready to take the leap into something new and throw away what I thought I was passionate about up until now. But I'm lost on how to find what's next. Joe, I'm exactly in the same situation, kind of, or I've been many, many times. And what I found is the more like you force it, you know, the more you want that next thing, and you really, really like you stress yourself about it. It's not gonna come, man. Like it's gonna come when you think about it the least. Probably it's gonna be under the shower. It's gonna be you doing something amazing, some traveling, and you're just chilled out. You're in a very great zone. I found that like or you do like a structured coaching can help. Like that too, but like mostly when you feel like you hit like this, it's not good to like try to even force it more. So that's just something that I wanted to add to that question. But Mark, you can take it from here if you want to.
Yeah, the advice I always give to this question is just pick something. Like you said, Kai, like the problem with people in this position is that like they feel stuck, and so they want to like know the exact answer. They're like, all right, I need to like find
agreed.
the exact thing that I need to do. And the truth is that you have no clue what you want to do. Even once you find what you want to do, you probably won't know if you want to do it. So just pick something, because at the very least, if you pick something and do it, it will give you more information. It will tell you where to go next.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. It's like get your hands dirty. As John P. Morgan, the guy that I'm doing coaching with, really cool dude, he told me, guys, stop thinking about it. Like just get your hands dirty. Like contact people, start doing what you love doing before, and like through that actually so many things came up again, and not the things that I anticipated, but completely new things. I mean, discussions with you, Daniel, other projects, and I think that was a big part of that was me actually taking already action in what you said, like kind of the right direction, you know, because you kind of know it maybe. So like at least try that. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah,
very much agreed.
I just want to add something, because I'm probably good at I'm probably a good case study when it comes to that. I've been there so many times I can't count them anymore. But I mean, what always worked for me is just go create. Just go create something. Just go build something. Whatever that is. If that's a project, if that's a conversation, if that's a product, if that's a business, it doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, if you move into creative mode, if you start creating, it can be anything. And I very much believe we are born creative. Then we sort of like, education drives creativity out of us. But at the end of the day, I believe that if you start creating, that place of being stuck, like creation and being stuck, can hardly coexist. You know, because as soon as you create, you develop, you move forward, and as soon as you move forward, you know you're no longer stuck. So I think that's the magic bullet.
Yeah, and another thing, what also came to my mind is, if you're at that point where you feel like you're so stuck that you can't even take the action, get some help, or like either have an accountability partner. That helped me, and the other thing is also to have a coach, or to have a good friend, or somebody you can talk to who is maybe a little bit more down the road of like the road you would like to go down as well. And that really helped me as well to like, also you don't even have to do you don't always have to do everything on yourself, you know, like feel free to like reach out and get some help.
I'd like to, if I could just like give a quick example of
Yeah.
what we're talking about, just to help this guy out. So my girlfriend, like, she also runs some websites and online businesses, and she was feeling very stuck this spring. And a friend of hers wanted to start a project and invited her to help start the project with her. And so they started doing it together. And within 1 month, my girlfriend was like, "Wow, I hate this. Like, this is awful. What I really want to be doing is this other thing." And so she quit the project with her friend and started this other thing, and now she's having a blast and she loves it. And so it's a good example of how like that first thing she tried was just like a terrible failure, but like at least that opened the path to what she should actually be doing.
Awesome, love that. Yeah, let's go into maybe one more question, and then yeah, let's see where it takes us. So I have another one of, let me see, Anna. So Anna said, Kai, oh yeah, that's me. Kai told me once that there was a lot of anger in my eyes. Sorry, Anna. Yes, I thought so. And then I want to believe that this is passion that redirected can be very powerful. Okay. The question for you, Mark, is: can you tell a successful story derived of any creative work you have done in a state of what I call passion, please? Did I get that correct? Can you tell us a successful story derived of any creative work you have done in a state of what I call passion?
Yeah. I think anger can be, at least for me, I mean, anger can be an extremely creative motivator. And I also think that channeling your anger through creativity is actually probably one of the healthiest ways to deal with it. It's very therapeutic for me. So like an example, like I've probably like 20% of my archive was written because I was like pissed off at either myself or somebody I knew or some situation. There have been a number of projects. I mean, I don't know, like I'm a huge fan of heavy metal music, so like I'm all about channeling your anger in productive ways.
Very nice. I just wanted to add something small here. As I mentioned at the beginning, Mark will be speaking at the Lifestyle Design Convention. I'm extremely happy and also proud that we can make that happen, and it's really cool. We just talked about flights before from Brazil to Switzerland, and I just wanted to give you guys a chance to check it out. I'm not sure whether that's going to work after all this, what happened at the beginning, but here you should probably, let's hope, probably see an offer on the right side. If you do, please let me know. And you can check out the Lifestyle Design Convention, which will be at the 16th and 17th. And yeah, just get a feel for it. And if there are people out there who haven't been at the last one and who want to, yeah, maybe connect with Mark, but as well as so many other awesome speakers. And it's really an event that is not like, oh, look the cool guru and look the attendees. You know, it's much more about like on an eye level, like just people having a great time with each other, interacting in an authentic way and not like bullshitting about, as you said, like that guru syndrome and all that. So it's going to be very much about that. So click on the link if you feel like it. If not, don't do it. And yeah, it would be awesome to see some of you people, some of Mark's fans, to be a part of that. That would be really awesome. yeah, that's just something I wanted to mention. And at a later stage, I will also add a video of where attendees of the Lifestyle Design Convention are talking about the Lifestyle Design Convention. And one of the attendees I met at the Lifestyle Design Convention, or more precisely a few days before, was Daniel Yordi. So we didn't cut him in as a fake attendee. That is actually what he thought about the event at that point in time.
It's actually my real, honest opinion.
And I paid him for it. No, I didn't. So yeah, I will shoot that. I will actually add that right now in the chat because I just found it. Here you go. You can check that out. There's also all the videos of the last convention. So if you want to check it out, please do so. Do we have one more cool question, my friends, or are we out of questions?
I answered a couple in chat because I thought we were done, but I could actually expand on Sizu's question because it's a good one and it deserves it deserves more than my like 2-word answer. He or she asked, "Is it right to fake it till you make it, or should you be genuine / listen to your fears?"
Oh, that's a good one.
My short answer was do both. But I actually like I don't like the words "fake it till you make it" because I think a lot of people misinterpret it as like basically just pretend to be somebody else. I think a better way to say it is go ahead and feel like it's that book title is like feel the fear and do it anyway. It's okay to do something knowing that you're scared to death or that you're going to be horrible doing it. I think it's better to, instead of fake it till you make it, simply do something understanding that failure is probably inevitable. And again, this comes back to my whole philosophy about we're all pretty much wrong in failing at everything we do, and that's okay.
Cool. Really nice. Daniel, you had one more question, and I like that. Maybe we want to like really quickly expand on that real quick. The good old classic, right? Jim Rohn said, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." I'm a deep believer in also like having the right people around you. What's your take on, or how big of an impact did people around you have on your success, personally or in business?
Huge. I definitely subscribe to that belief that maybe you're not the average, but like the people who you keep closest to you do largely influence who you are and also the direction in which you develop. And I think if you're trying to go one direction and all of the people around you are going in a different direction, I think it makes it extremely hard on yourself. And you don't necessarily need to like cut all these people out of your life, but I do think that people should more consciously prioritize their relationships based on how their values align with some of their friends and family members.
All right. So you will go for like similar values, and like what other characteristics do you look for in people that you would like to surround yourself with? Like you said, values in general, but like what kind of values are those?
Honesty, non-manipulative communication. That's like the biggest one. Self-awareness is another huge one. But also, I mean, maybe values isn't the right word because like I've got a good friend that I disagree with constantly about like everything, but like I love the guy as a brother, and the beautiful thing about my friendship with him is that he and I can talk very frankly and honestly and disagree with each other and not feel a need to like control each other's opinion or talk shit to each other or look down on each other. And so yeah, I would say an honesty and mutual respect, and some self-awareness, like those are most important to me these days. And then if they're trying to do something similar to what I'm doing, if they're really good at things that I'm really good at, like that's a bonus. It's really nice to have people on the same path as you.
Cool, man. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it with this. I would like you to stay in the line, Mark, really quickly after this webinar, as we agreed before. That would be cool. Guys, once again, especially the attendees out there, it's amazing like how many, the chat is like plop, 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 and it's only 18 people made it probably through the transition to here. I'm saying only, but it's amazing that you guys made it. It's really, really cool. I love the fact that there's been so many questions, so many also statements. You have to do that, you have to do that, so many tips, so many questions. It's really, really awesome to have that on the side. I was thinking about doing more like just interviews with the speakers, but this just adds such a nice element to it where you feel like you're in a group discussing a topic, and I really feel like you guys are here, so that's really, really cool. So thank you so much for being a part of this. Mark, dude, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you so much for flying over, taking the time to be at our convention. I'm looking so much forward to meet you in person, man, to give you a hug. Daniel, as always, my friend, thank you so much for being part of this. And if you guys are interested, once again, click on the link. I also added the Facebook group. We'll always upload like the latest webinar. Oh yeah, there's a Facebook group. If you Google for it, life's, how did we call it? Daniel, we called it something. Well, there is a Facebook group. Maybe it doesn't have to
If you Google Facebook group, it will come up first.
Yeah, just Google Facebook group. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine, guys. So yeah, it was a pleasure having you on, guys. Yeah, enjoy your evening, morning, lunchtime, whatever it is, and hope to see you next time. Stay tuned. If you're not on the newsletter yet, you will be now by subscribing to this webinar. So that's awesome, and enjoy your time. Bye bye.